Let's read Psalm 62:5. My soul, wait in silence for God alone, for my hope is from Him. Wow. My soul, wait in silence for God alone. So David, this is a Psalm of David. David is not looking for another hope, another God, but he's not even crying out to the Lord at this point, because he's saying, wait in silence for God alone. Probably, David was in a very difficult situation, and he could, cry out, and he could just, call his friends and complain about his situation, but he didn't do any of those things. He just waited for God alone in silence. Why? Because there's the reason. It says, for my hope is from Him. My hope is from God. My hope is not from my army. My hope is not from my past, my future, my neighbors, my lineage, my heritage. None of them are source of my hope. My only source of hope is God alone. So I wait for Him. Now, if you look at the context of this passage, Psalm 62, it says the title of this psalm is God alone is a refuge from treachery and oppression. So we can see that David was going through all this treachery and oppression. But in verse 1 also says, my soul waits in silence for God alone, for Him is my salvation. So here it says, my hope is from God, meaning that God is the source of my hope. In verse 1, God is my salvation. God is the Savior, and God is the anchor of my soul, anchor of my source of hope. And in verse 2, He only is my rock. He only is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold. I should not be greatly shaken. So because of God, I will not be shaken. A lot of people in verse 3, how long will you assail a man that you may murder him, all of you, like a leaning wall, like a tottering fence? And verse 4, they have counseled only to thrust him down from his high position. They delight in falsehood. They bless with their mouths, but inwardly they curse. So this shows how wicked people are. We outside we may smile, but inside we revile against one another and we curse one another. That is a hypocrisy, and that is basically a life that we see in the world. However, David is not carrying any of those things. David, what he cared the most was waiting for God alone. Even in all the treacherous and oppressive situation he was in, he was very solid. He was peaceful. He was waiting because he was waiting for God. How would you apply this psalm in your life? We can go through a lot of difficult things in our life. There can be lots of uncertainties, and those uncertainties can sometimes weigh us down. And then we might feel like the heavy oppression from those things, and even we can have a fear of future as well. However, we don't have to worry about any of those things, because even though that could be reality, even though the oppression and treachery, those type of situation can happen in our life, however, we have the source of hope, and God is the solid rock, and we can have this hope in Him. And our hope is from Him, just like we see in this David's psalm, so that we can be in silence, we can be in peace, just wait for the Lord. And God is going to show up, and He is going to help us out, just like He helped David. So let's wait for Him. And God is honored. God honors our waiting for Him, and He will help. He is the source of our hope.